We back with another live. Me and Jelani on this thing today. Cavs, Pacers. Looking like the Cavs is turning us into some profits, like we knew all along, man. They
Yeah,
about
man.
to be down 3-1 against the Pacers, the team that everybody hates because of Tyrese Halliburton. They down, I don't even 125-97 right now, something like that.
Exactly.
Crazy game, man. Did you see this coming in this game?
I did not. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I did not see Cleveland getting blown out by 40 points. I thought they would, respond, tie the series up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think, for me, I don't believe in either one of these teams.
Mm.
But I did feel that Cleveland was the better team. So to see them down by this many points in game four is crazy. And this is bad, bro. Like I was it's Mother's Day, so I'm in the kitchen, I'm cooking my wife some food, and when I got done, I get this message from my dad, this text message, and it's like, yo, is the score of the game real? And I'm like, man, I don't know. I've been cooking. So I go on ESPN and it's halftime and the score is 80-39. And I was like, wow, now I get why he asked me was the score is real. Like it was so bad, this can't be real. So
This
yeah, I'm
this is
definitely in
bad.
disbelief.
This is bad, man. This is probably for sure. Even though we had some sweeps in the first round,
Yeah.
hindsight is 2020. I can't really remember too far back, but I think this was the worst game of the entire playoffs played by any team.
It might
That
be.
80-39 in the first half. That's crazy. And you're the number one seed in the East.
Yeah. It's
That's
bad. We had another blowout. OKC did blow out Denver, but
yeah.
OKC is the better team though, right? So
They're
we're not
supposed to.
expecting a blowout, but if anybody's gonna, blow someone out the water, it's definitely OKC. But yeah, this isn't looking good.
Yeah, know what else this is, man? This is the moment where we say this series is done.
Mm,
I don't see the Cavs coming back from this. Then today they also had, the ankle injury to Donovan Mitchell, who, got hurt and didn't return. And really, if we keep it a buck, he's been the main reason they've been in any of these games. He's averaging prior to this game, he's averaging like 41 for the
yeah,
series.
yeah,
He's playing out of his mind. And now, you don't know how the ankle is going to be or whatever. Ankle injuries can last a while. Will he be back for the next game? I know he's going to try, but I
yeah.
think a hobbled Donovan Mitchell and the Cleveland Cavaliers can't get back into this series to win it.
Yeah, I think this one is over. Even though Donovan Mitchell been putting up Michael Jordan numbers, literally Michael Jordan NBA numbers, NBA playoff
Yeah,
numbers.
yeah.
When did he get hurt? Like which quarter?
I think so. I missed the second and third because I was out. I lost my debit card for most of the day, and it
Okay.
was at the restaurant that we went to eat at, and I knew it was there. I knew where I left it and everything, and we getting off in the story time, but I called the place and I'm like, hey, my name is Mark. I'm pretty sure I left my debit card at the, in the little sleeve or whatever when you make your payment.
Yeah.
And they was like, no, I'm sorry, sir. Nobody has brought a card in and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I described it. I'm like, it's a green card. I was like, I just left like 45 minutes ago. I'm sure it's there or whatever. Well, we'll take your number down and we'll call you and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right, so I'm waiting around and stuff or whatever, doing my thing, but my mind is not on basketball right now. It's on
Yeah.
like, I need to get this card. So they don't call me back and I have to go. So now it's like this probably second quarter. So I'm assuming that's when the Mitchell injury
Got it.
happened.
Okay.
And then I get there, right? This is the crazy part. And
Yeah.
I tell them who I am again. I'm like, my name's Mark Haynes. I just wanted to check to see if, you guys found my debit card. And she goes, oh, she walks to the back, she grabs a little paper. She's like, I think we have your information here, so we go call you when we find if we find it, but nobody's brought it up. And then she's shuffling through like the register and stuff, and she opens it, and I'm like, my card is right there. And then she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, it's literally right there, face up and everything. And so that's why I missed the second and third quarter. But I believe it happened in the second.
Okay. Yeah, man. I'm gonna give the Pacers. It's gonna be Pacers in 6. It look like. I think Cleveland is gonna respond Game 5. They'll be at home, back against the wall. Assuming Donovan Mitchell comes back, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna give it to the Pacers in 6. If he doesn't come back, Pacers in 5. But I definitely didn't have them on my list as a Eastern Conference Finals opponent. I just didn't see that happening. And then on the other side of the bracket, the Celtics in New York, they're going at it. Celtics made it a series. So shout out to Mark. Shout out to you, bro. Because I think you called it. I think you said the Knicks was going to win the series, right? And they went up
I got
2-0.
Knicks and I had Pacers.
And I haven't been on the live in like 4 or 5 days, so we haven't talked about it. So I definitely got to ask you, do you still think the Knicks going to pull it off?
I do, man.
Okay.
I do. I think it's gonna be a series. I think if I would have been real surprised if New York went up 3-0 or whatever. I knew Boston would respond, but I do think tomorrow, I think the Knicks go up 3-1. I think they go win. I think they're gonna win a game in front of their home crowd like they have to. It's a lot, it's a lot riding on this next game. I think if New York wins this game, it's going to essentially punch their ticket into the conference finals. So this is for them, this has to be, for both teams, really, this has to be a game 7.
Yeah.
Boston know they can't lose this game. And that's why I expect, it's either going to be a blowout, a one-way blowout, or it's going to be like a fight to the finish, in this next game. And I think this next game, whoever wins it, I think they win the series. And I think New York is winning tomorrow.
Wow. If we get a Pacers New York Knicks matchup in the playoffs,
it would be crazy.
Reggie Miller going to be in the building. Patrick Ewing going to be in the building.
Man, they had I seen they had Larry Johnson at the game. Last one, Grandmama, and that was dope. But just to see all those, those old faces and stuff, and in a New York Indiana series, that would make my NBA season. Like just to have one of those two, and then one of them make it to the finals. I would prefer it to be the Knicks, even though I don't have a dog in the fight, but I think I would pick the Knicks for one, and I would want it to be the Knicks because in our lifetime, we've seen it during the Jeff Van Gundy, was it 99
during the lockout season?
Yeah, the lockout season. We've seen them in the finals. But I would love to see it. That's been 25 years ago, 26 years ago. That I would love to see it. So I'm Knicks, OKC.
Yeah, and as a Laker fan, I'm going for the Knicks as a Laker fan.
And so you missed something I said yesterday, and I'm a double down. I've been OKC all this time.
Yeah.
If Golden State somehow gets out of this Minnesota series and gets Steph back on the court, and if they get out of this round, I got Golden State going to the finals.
If they could pull off the upset, because it's an upset now because of Steph being gone.
Exactly.
That is, I see why you would say that. And you have been OKC, not just in the postseason, really all season you've been talking about OKC. No, I can see that, man, because they almost pulled off a game yesterday. They were right there.
Yeah, that was a winnable game.
Right there. and I was fortunate enough to catch the majority of that game. And they would have won it. I just feel like Jimmy Butler got tired or cold at the end.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and then Draymond fouling out with 3 or 4 minutes left didn't help as well.
Yeah, that
Um,
hurt.
but I understand. I understand what you're saying. If they can get past the Timberwolves, because here's my thing. If they can go into Game 5 tied, they can go 2-2.
Right.
They could pull it off. But they have like this is a game. This next game for the Warriors is a Game 7.
Yep.
You need to be two
Yep.
and two. Hopefully Curry can come back Game 5. It'll
Yep.
most likely be Game 6, but hopefully he can come back game
Mm-hmm.
five, and at that point it's a 3-game series.
Yep. Yep.
So I would love to see that happen.
Because like it's just them. It's certain teams, and Golden State has been one of those franchises that when they win championships, other than the the KD ones, you knew they were going to be in the finals. But the first one and their latest one, 22 or
Yeah.
whatever, like those two championships were like just magical years.
Hmm.
Those was years you you wasn't sure. They wasn't just favored to win, but things just happened. Steph was breaking records and
Yeah.
doing this, doing that. Everything was just clicking, and then they end up winning a championship. And I think that's what's happening right now. And if they get past Minnesota, that solidifies it for me. And I'm like,
Hmm.
at that point, I'm not betting against them, like
No.
because they have no business beating Minnesota with Steph missing over half the series. They
Yeah.
have no business getting out of this round.
None.
But if anybody go do it, it's gonna be them.
They know how to win. They know how to win. Here's another thing, and I think I text this to you. Jonathan Kuminga, and I can't remember, it was the last game or the game before. Instant offense, instant
Mm-hmm.
athleticism. They need to figure out. I don't understand why they're just now putting them in. They're putting them in because Steph is out. But that man, I'm not saying he has to start,
Right.
but Steve Kerr has to figure out a way to get whatever he can out of him, especially with Steph out. And then once Steph is back, if he comes back,
Mm-hmm.
still finding him minutes. I think really is going to come down to Buddy Hield and Kaminga, them stepping
Mm-hmm.
up. I think Jimmy Butler, we seen it last game. We seen the fourth quarter of the last game, but last game he stepped up. I think he had about 34 points, 33 points.
Yep. Yep.
Um, so it's more than possible, but I think it's Kaminga and Buddy Hield. It depends on what they do in Steph's absence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's funny, like that situation they having over there with Jonathan Kuminga, and he's having all these games where he just can't even get on the court. And he's far too talented to be seeing
Yeah,
this many DMPs.
yeah.
Do you think this, when a chip or not, is this the last time we go see Jonathan Kuminga in a Golden State Warriors jersey?
It might be, man. If I'm Jonathan Kaminga, I don't know if I want to play for the organization anymore because
Mm-hmm.
this is what his third, maybe fourth season.
Yeah, they didn't get a contract extension.
No, they didn't extend me. They're not
Mm-hmm.
playing me. I need to
Mm-hmm.
get out of there. I think he needs to be traded, and I think there's a lot of teams, a lot of playoff teams today where he could be a good second or third option,
Yeah.
right? And I don't know if it's because Jimmy Butler came and it kind of messed things up, but he has raw talent, raw athleticism, and a lot of potential. So I see him going elsewhere, taking his talents elsewhere. Um, and I think that if they trade him, they can get something good back for Kaminga.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think this might be win or lose. This might be it. Because for me, if I was him, I feel disrespect. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, right? But I would
Right.
feel disrespected. Because, like I said, I don't think it was the last game, but the game before they put him in, and he was like 8 for 8 on his first 8 shots. Did
Right.
not
Instantly.
miss 8 for like instant. I'm like,
Yeah.
why are you work?
Yeah.
Like, why are you not playing in the Houston series?
Right. Nah,
What?
he
So
has game. He
yeah,
has game. Like I think he could average 20 points easily in this league, with
yeah,
the on a team that's giving him opportunities. But for whatever reason, he cannot stay in rotation. And it's funny because he's, I can't think of another player right now off the top of the head, even though I'm sure it's happened. But he goes from I can't get into the game to I'm starting. It's no in
yeah.
between.
And
There's
I'm
no,
putting up the most points. I'm playing
and
the
I'm putting
best
up the
ball
most.
at the moment.
Yeah, they giving me ISOs. Like it doesn't make sense. And if I'm
Zero.
Jonathan Kuminga, yeah. So first opportunity I can get, I would be out because I know what I'm bringing to this team. And you know what's there to stay for now at this point when I already got a championship my first year in the
Hmm.
league. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So it's not like, oh, I'm staying for a chip. Now now he's playing for himself. He's playing for a check, which
Yep.
he's not getting from them right now, or whatever. So
Hmm.
I don't understand it, but at the same time, like, a lot of us didn't understand when Team USA when Steve Kerr was benching Jason Tatum. So
Yeah, and once again, not saying you got to play 35 minutes a game or anything like that, but you deserve some burn. I think a good fit for Jonathan Kuminga would be like the Grizzlies.
mm,
I think that would be a good fit because there's no in Memphis they don't have like a solid number two offensive
hmm
option. I'll say their
right.
second best player is a defensive player, right? Jackson.
Yep.
They have
Yeah.
they have Desmond Bain.
Yep.
You know, he's decent, but like from what I've seen from Kaminga, I think if he went to Memphis, he would be the bona fide number two option. And he would, like you said, average 20, 22 points a game. So I think Memphis would be a good look for
hmm
him. There's a lot of teams that could use him, but I think Memphis would be good because like he can
I
play.
agree.
It's a competitive team. They'll be competitive in the West, and it's a young team, and he could shine. He could grow and develop his game because
hmm
you don't want to. Because he can go to the Wizards like like Jordan Poole.
Oh man.
And you're
Yeah.
right. Like I don't want that for him. Don't do him like y'all did
Right.
Jordan Poole.
Right.
Um, yeah, don't do that.
They had Jordan Poole out there looking like a scrub. He turned into the butt of all jokes. It was just the worst time for him to go there. The Draymond Green punch happened.
Yeah,
And then you go over there. That was a tough situation. it
it
was
was. I
an
don't think the Warriors should have
unwinnable
got rid of him.
situation.
They should
Yeah.
have kept him. I would have been like Draymond, Jordan, y'all gonna figure this out because that's your future you mortgaging.
Right, right. But
You know.
Jordan, because he averaged 20 that year. That year they won
Mm-hmm.
won a chip, 20 off the bench for the most part.
Yep.
But
So
but
he looks very promising.
hmm
So they
and then
having I think they having some issues with like the young players with their veteran stars.
right, right. One thing that I remember, covering the team is that it stood out and it was weird to me. It was always like a lot of saying like Steve Kerr would be like, you know, um the starters versus the young guys or the young guys or whatever. And it was almost like two teams or whatever. And
Yeah.
I never really heard any team like, refer to their team, in that matter or whatever. But when you watching them, that's how it looks. It looks like, obviously you have, now it's just Steph and Dre or whatever, but Steph, Dre, Jimmy or whatever. And then there's the young guys or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's, I think it just created a, strange environment or whatever for like, I know rookies that was in that same, draft class as Kuminga and Moody, and the Warriors do a great job of like developing players with through their G League and stuff like that. Again, and I see a lot of teams. Sacramento is using the G League more than some of the other teams for development reasons. But I spoke to like other rookies at that time, and it was like, man, I'm glad I'm not in their situation. They got they
Yeah.
Kuminga number 7 pick, Moody think 13 or something like that. They lottery picks and they stuck in the G League. And then when they up with with the big team, they on the bench because this is a championship caliber team. So it's
Yeah.
like and I think they never transitioned and like grew out of that. And even though that it's 4 years down the road, but still, for any DMPs Kuminga is receiving, I still think it's unacceptable. Like I don't see why that's happening, but hey, if the Warriors if they win the chip, just like Team USA won gold with Tatum sitting on the bench, it ain't nothing we can say.
Nothing. We can't say anything about Steve Kerr if he win. If you win,
yeah,
that's it. Um,
that,
I think back in the day when we were coming up, the Spurs did a good job. Even though I hate the Spurs, I give credit where it's due. They did a good job incorporating their young guys, and I've seen it twice. I've seen two versions of it, right? Where we just talked about the lockout year. Tim Duncan won his second year in the league with the vet like David Robinson.
yep,
Fast forward 3-4 years later, they're winning it again, but now
yep,
with a young Tony Parker, a young Manu
mm-hmm,
Ginobili, Tim Duncan's in his prime, and then David Robinson, he retires after that chip. Fast forward another 8 to 10 years, now it's Kawhi Leonard
Kawhi Leonard, yep,
with their veteran core of Manu, Tony Parker, and Tim Duncan. So Spurs,
yeah,
they did it. So I feel like right, Steve Kerr was a part of that. Right, he was
right,
the veteran guy off the bench hitting threes. So like
mm-hmm,
the Warriors need to do that with Jimmy Butler, with Steph, and with Draymond, and get these young guys going. Because I think that's why the Spurs were so successful. If they
yeah,
wouldn't have done what they did it the way they did, there's no way they win 3 rings. Maybe, I mean, 5 rings. Maybe they have
mm-hmm,
three. In
right,
the early 2000s.
right, and then flipping back to this game, the Pacers and Cavs. I was hoping this moment was go have a more meaningful impact on the game, but I don't know if you've seen the Ben Mathurin ejection and DeAndre Hunter. He's like they said I don't they said Ben Mathurin with a ball fist, I believe that's how they said it,
I thought it
like
was a
touch.
push.
I thought it was a push as well. It was
No, a
clearly a
push to
push
me.
from Hunter. That was a clear push.
Yeah.
But Ben got ejected on that. But DeAndre Hunter got a technical.
All
What?
because his fist was balled up. Is that why?
I think so. And I think they just couldn't see like what he actually did. Like, but if you can't see it, you can't make a decision like that.
Yeah.
Like that could have been a decision, at that time the game was a game still. But
Okay.
those are the calls that I feel like you can't make as a referee because the game was close, and Ben Mathurin is a key rotation guy over there with the Pacers, and with everything that's on the line or whatever, like you can't like if anybody, in my opinion, if anybody should have been ejected, it was Hunter or
Mhm.
whatever. And it just for the blatant push. I think we seen people ejected for less,
Yeah.
but it ended up not meaning anything because they lost by like 50. So, but I was just wondering if you seen that part of the game and what did you think originally?
I didn't see that part of the game. I just seen the highlights during the halftime show. I
Mm-hmm.
think during the playoffs, you got to let these guys play. You got to let
Mm-hmm.
them play. When we were growing up, they was having full on fist fights. And I'm not saying we need to have full on fist fights. I'm not saying that. But you dealing with grown men that are passionate, that are playing their hearts out, putting it all on the floor, leaving it on the floor. Tempers, emotions, they flare up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we want. Because when you have emotions and passion, the game is better. It's more entertaining. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, I think you let these guys play in the playoffs. I'm not saying you can't give them a tech, right? I mean, you got a job to do. You the ref. You want a clean game, right? That's your job. Make sure the
Right.
game is clean, but just don't go straight to a flagrant two. Could have gave that man a flagrant one and
Yeah.
let them play. And like you said,
Yeah.
what if this was a close game? What if this wasn't a 40-point blowout? What if it was a 4-point win?
Hmm.
Like, damn, we would have had our guy and he would have got ejected. Okay, maybe we win. So I just think, you know, you have to refs need to just be aware of that. And I think we've seen it with Draymond Green, right? Like he had a tech and it looked like he's going to get ejected and going to give him another tech, but they gave
Right.
him a flagrant instead. So he's
Right.
able to stay in the game. If that
Right.
was a regular season game, there's a possibility Draymond get pulled. I mean, not pulled, ejected.
Yeah.
I think they
Exactly.
were
Yeah.
like, hey, just give him the flavor so he can continue playing. Like,
Right.
this is a close series.
And I
Um,
and I think the refs have done a really, really good job this year of not
yeah.
being too involved. Like I think they got this one wrong, and again, it didn't impact the game any. But I think they've been letting the players be physical. I think they've been letting the players voice their opinions a lot more. You're not seeing a whole bunch of technicals just being, thrown around like usual. The games are it's better that way. You're
Yeah.
seeing a lot more basketball, being played the way people and fans want to see it. You're seeing, and I think that goes into, adding to like when we doing these, reactions and stuff, and when fans are watching TV and all that, there's no narratives out there that's outside of basketball, really. It's
Yeah.
everything is about basketball. It's exciting. We're talking about potentially getting the Knicks and Pacers in the conference finals. We're not talking about, oh, such and such said this or did this, or the referees blew this game, the referee stole this from this one, blah, blah, blah. It's all basketball. We talk about the coaches messed it up, the players messed it up. And so I like the referees are doing a heck of a job, and I
Yeah.
wanted to give them a little kudos because I don't know when the last time I said that.
Yeah. Refs always, it's a hard job. It's a hard job. Um, but refs shouldn't decide games,
Hmm.
especially playoff games. I'll keep it at that.
And,
I'll keep it
and
at that. And I think even with Draymond, I think I read a graphic. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mark. You might know better than I do. But he basically damn near has the limit of text you can have until you get suspended.
I think I seen that too. Yeah, I think he's
Yeah,
right
so if
there.
it's yeah, so if it's like, oh, you get 7 texts, you don't get suspended a game. Draymond
Right,
has 6,
right,
and we in the second round,
right.
and y'all want to, so
Yeah.
hopefully, that doesn't happen. He doesn't get another tech so he need to get his behavior together. You know how he do sometimes. But the refs should also know, like, if we see him do something that isn't just totally egregious, excuse me,
Yeah,
we're just gonna call a regular foul.
right. It and we was talking about that, yesterday. We all seen the clip with Draymond talking about, people treat him like, the narrative, he just this mad black man and
Yeah.
stuff or whatever. And like when we see the highlights of him, kicking people and hitting people and stomping on people or whatever. And I was like, when I look at it, obviously it's funny as heck, but I don't look at it. I don't think Draymond most of the time. I'll say that. I don't think most of the time he's trying to hit people or whatever. I think he's just horrible at flopping. That's it. I think,
Yeah.
like I'm a bigger guy or whatever. When I flop, it doesn't look right. It usually don't end right. So I think that's I think he just got to give up flopping, and then we'll see less of, people getting black eyes and chip tooths and all that, even though nobody got that. I'm being extra.
No,
But
I agree. I don't think he does it purposely all the time either. Cause sometimes it just looks like he's just right, like he's just doing
yeah.
stuff. I'm like, bruh, I'll give you an example. So my oldest son plays soccer, right? That's his thing.
Uh-huh.
He loves soccer, and we'll be on the field. He'll be on the field in an actual game, and I'll just notice like his arm is way over here. He's doing, just animated sometimes. And I had to tell my
Yeah.
son like, I'm like, where are your arms at? Put your arms down. Control your body. That's my thing. I'm always with, hey, you're doing good. You're doing great. You got the energy. And even the coach was, oh, he has a high motor. That's what they say about him. He has a high motor because he's everywhere, right?
Yeah.
He has a very, just like Draymond Green has a high motor. And I'm like, son, control your body. And then when you sit and tell him, it's like, yeah, you're right. Like your arm, like, why are your arms up here? Put your arms down. Oh yeah, okay, Dad. He does it. And he's good, right? Draymond need that. He needs somebody to tell him to control his body, control his, you know, his emotions. And you just, man, you don't. Why is your leg up here, sir? You're you're not doing a 100-meter hurdle. Why is your leg literally in the air right now? That's just, so you gonna cost these Warriors a game, with your antics. But I love Draymond. I love his energy. He has a high basketball IQ, in my opinion, for the simple
Yeah,
fact, if you're playing defense at the level he plays it, right,
man.
guarding damn near every position, right, at least for this era, he can guard every position plus facilitating, especially in them earlier days, like a lot of times he was the lead assist person, 8 assists,
Yep.
9 assists, 10 assists on a given night. So he
Yep.
has a very high basketball IQ. So we need to give him his props. And as a black man, I understand his sentiments about them trying to pay him
Mhm.
out a certain type of way.
And that's the
You
thing.
know,
Like when you meet Draymond like in person or whatever, Draymond, like I've had multiple interactions. I'm not gonna act like we best friends and talk or whatever,
yeah,
but every time I've had an encounter with Draymond away from basketball, or whether it's just talking, whether it's just saying what's up, or anything, he's one of the most friendliest dudes in the world. Like what you see on the court is completely opposite of what he's like in real life or whatever. Like he's
I bet.
friendly, he's funny, it's funny as heck, but he's friendly. He just a real cool dude. But when he gets on the court, he's a dog, he's an animal, and that's a part of being a professional, being able to turn that switch on and whatnot. But he's definitely, like he said, he's a successful, you know, black man who, the way he plays the game, it, it makes some people question that, which is unfair, because, like, nah, he's just a good dude. Like, I ain't never had nothing negative to say about him, off the court. He just got to quit flopping, because that part ain't him. Like he got to get the mechanics down or whatever. Like I forget what sport it was, where sometimes you gotta just practice falling and stuff or whatever. And
Yeah.
maybe we could set that up this summer, get with him, and let's just get this under control. But nah, the referees, they have to be lenient with how quickly they go issue out these next technicals when it comes to Drake, because he's definitely gonna get one. It's gonna happen, but at least just make sure it's for the right reason. No, you
Yeah.
don't want it to be a controversial one, because then
Yeah. Like
we're
it got to
talking
be like
about
clear.
referees.
It has to be
Yeah,
a clear, like, all right, bro, we got to tech you. It has to be
yeah,
clear. Like you
for sure,
tripping, bro.
for sure.
Yeah, it can't be controversial.
Yeah, that's all I ask, man. That's all I ask. You stand with a day. What's up, y'all that joined in on the chat, man? Appreciate y'all jumping in with us. Just talking about, well, we ain't really talking about is this Pacers and Cavs game, because it wasn't really much to talk about other than it's
No.
just a straight up, what is it? BTA is what they say. Belt to the tush. I've said that since
Hmm.
it's Sunday. I ain't gonna cuss on Sunday. But BTA is exactly what we saw, and Tyrese Halliburton and his Pacers are one game away from the conference finals. Who would have thought? Like, what can the most, he won the award for most overrated player You know, we talked about it. He made me look silly in game 3 though. I just got through calling him Tyrese Halliburton, and then he came back and gave me 4 points the next game in 30 minutes. But again, man, like what does that say about this team, and even like more than the team, the coaching of, you know, Rick Carlisle, a guy who's, you know, been to, you know, NBA finals and won.
Yeah, man. I mean, it makes his legacy better, look better. You know what I'm saying? And a part of me is like, okay, we got to give the Pacers a props, and another part of me is like, yeah, but you know, the East isn't as challenging. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like I kind of
Mm-hmm.
feel like the situation Indiana has right now is a similar situation to when the Hawks got to the
Mm-hmm.
Eastern Conference Finals a few years back. I will say I believe that this Pacers team is better than that Hawks team, but
Mm-hmm.
it was just one of those things like, what? Like the Hawks are in the Eastern Conference Championship? How did that happen?
Mm-hmm.
But you got to give them their props. And now I don't think they've made the playoffs since. They've been a playing team, you know, ever since. Not saying that's going to happen to this team, but I think coaching definitely has a lot to do with it. Like, they're just a team that they play well together. They have a leader who's unselfish, who shares the ball, who makes plays, who makes clutch shots.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, Siakam, he won a championship with Toronto, right? So they
Yeah,
have
he's up.
someone there on that team with championship experience. So um yeah, they surprised me. You know, it might sound like hate when I make that comment about the East, the Eastern Conference as a whole, but I'm definitely gonna give
Yeah,
them the props as a team, man. Like at the end of the day, they beat the teams that were ahead of them. They
yeah.
don't they don't they don't have anything to do with who they play or the schedule, injuries, none of that. They did what they were supposed to do.
And the Pacers is, you know, that's what type of team they are. Like they do what they supposed to do. They do what they can.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you do what you can, it's enough. You know, I don't when we look at them on paper and compare them to other teams, like you look at the Cavs look like, and they most all this year they've been the superior team.
Yeah.
But when you put them, you know, head to head, you know, you still, these are NBA teams, these are, you know, good teams. Whether you like them and their style of play or not, these are good. These are NBA players. They have talents.
Yes.
They have, you know, guys that fit. They don't have they didn't have, I don't think Siakam was an all-star this year or whatever. So like, but you don't have a bona fide all-star on that team. You know, you have Tyrese Halliburton who is the star, but you have Siakam who can do his thing. You have Miles Turner who led the league in blocks for years and years or whatever. So you have defenders, you have shooters, you have role players. And when I look at them, they're just really, really scrappy. And I think in the playoffs, scrappy teams always have a chance. It reminds me of the old Memphis Grizzly team, the grindhouse Memphis Grizzlies,
Grind and
where they,
grit.
yeah, grind and grit, yeah, grind and grit. They just that's what the Pacers are doing in these playoffs, and that's a team when you're, you know, all of us when we're playing at the park, you know, playing recreational ball, and you're better than the guy across from you, but that dude just plays so hard. You hate playing that guy because that
He
guy, he's
wants it
going to
more
win
than
some
you.
games. Yeah, he wants way more than you. I
Yeah.
just want to show up because I'm better than you and win. But he's going
Mm-hmm.
to force you to actually have to play hard. And I had
Mm-hmm.
no intentions of playing hard. And I think that's what the Cavs, that's what happened to them. And I think that's what happened in, you know, but they're doing it, you know, in a series where you can't fall behind. Because the Pacers, they can play too. They're tough and they can play. But I think when you're that type of team in the East, I think you always have a chance in the playoffs. During the season, you're not go really stand out like that or whatever, because you go run up against lesser talented teams who play
Mm-hmm.
a similar style as you, which, you know, you go drop some games. But in a series is, you know, if you're out there out hustling the other team, if you're out there being more aggressive, you have a really good shot at winning. And they're winning right now, which
Absolutely.
got them in the potentially. They're there. I ain't gonna say potentially. They're in the conference finals. This is over.
It's done. I don't see it happening. It's only happened like 9 or 10 times in history, right? 11 times. But
Yeah.
it's hard to come back down 3-1. And I just think them first 2 games messed them up.
Mm-hmm.
With Evan Mobley being out and Garland being out,
Yep.
they didn't recover. And Donovan Mitchell put the team on his back, but stars make plays in the playoffs, and Halliburton has done that, man. Got to give him his props. Whoever put out that article or survey that said,
Yeah.
"Hey, it's the most overrated player in the league," I think that gave him some motivation. You know,
Mm-hmm.
had
Definitely.
that chip on his shoulder. Maybe the stuff with his dad too. Then his dad came out the woodwork out of nowhere and was
Yeah.
making him
Now he
look
can't.
bad. Now
Now he can't
he got a
go to.
ball.
He can't go to home games no more.
That's sad.
He can only
All right,
go
man.
on the road.
I get it though, man. Because me and my wife at the games, we be loud. I can only imagine how big my head would be if my kid was in the NFL, NBA. I'll probably be worse than him.
Man,
Can't tell
it
me
ain't no
nothing.
telling, man. Ain't no telling, man. I can only imagine. Shout out to Mr. Halliburton. But
Yes, sir.
has anything changed for you outside of not we know this Pacers series is done. But let's
Yeah.
move on to Knicks and Celtics. Warriors, Minnesota, and Denver, OKC. OKC took the lead today. Or I mean tied it up. My bad. Tied it up.
Yeah, 2-2. Yeah, man. That's my favorite series
Mm-hmm.
in the second round because it reminds me of the basketball that we grew up on. Like
Yep.
today was a grit and grind game on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Um, both superstars weren't shooting their best, right? They weren't. It was because of defense. They were playing good defense. I don't think either team scored 90 points. I can't remember the final score, but I
Right.
think it
I'm
was in the
looking up
80s.
now. Yeah.
Maybe OKC.
90, yeah, 92-87.
Yeah, 90. I was gonna say maybe OKC got 91 or 92 points.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, man, like that series is good. It remind me, like it's playoff basketball,
Mm-hmm.
and I know OKC had that one blowout, but other than that, it's been really good games. We get to see the two MVP front runners go at it in
Mm-hmm.
the second round. That's rare. We don't always get that, so I'm grateful that we get to see that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I just think Oakland, you've been talking about them for a while, but they're just overall, top to bottom, offense to defense, they are just a great put together team. They're a well oiled machine. Um, and they're going to be good for a long time. Everybody on the team, 23, 24 years old, they said they
And they still
called, what's the guy who's playing for the Lakers? Caruso. He the oldest person
Caruso.
on the team. He's like 31, 30,
Yeah.
31. He the OG. He the unk. I'm like, it was
Yeah.
Caruso unk. What that make us?
Ah, man, we old heads now.
Yeah. I'm like, my God.
But no, like this was like you said, this was a classic, early 2000 type of game. And it's interesting, like everybody, we could either say they struggled or defense was just amazing in this game.
Yeah.
A lot of players struggled. The only players on both teams to reach 25 points and more was the two MVPs, SGA and Nikola Jokic.
And it wasn't
And
an efficient 20.
it wasn't. It was just, but this was one of those games where the stars had to be stars and carry everybody else to the finish line. They literally did that. Like, it wasn't an amazing game or anything like that. They had to, if you think about you in war, and if I gotta, I'm bigger than I got you by some pounds, but if I gotta carry you somewhere, it's gonna be a struggle. If you're a grown man. I ain't like I'm just picking you up like a kid and going. And we seen two superstars carry their teams to the finish line, and SGA came out on top.
Yep.
And that was really dope, because at the end of the day, that's who we want to see. We want to see SGA and the Joker doing their thing. And it was an ugly game. SGA was 8 of 19.
Yeah.
And Joker was, let's see what the Joker was. I gotta get quicker on my stats. Yeah, Joker was 7 of 22, 27 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists. But it was a good, like you said, this is the most exciting series of this second round. Although New York and Boston is right there.
It is. Because New York keeps on finding ways to win. I think the Celtics remind me of that team, that football team, right? That's that run and gun team that don't ever run the ball, right? So, for instance, so you play football, Mark. So it's the fourth quarter. Your team, let's say you're the coach of a football team, and your team is up, I don't know, 28-7 in the fourth quarter. What are you going to do offensively? What are you going to do? What makes the most sense?
You run the ball. If you up,
you run the ball. You run, even if you're a team that throw the ball a lot, you're gonna run it, right?
You start running.
Clock out.
Yeah.
Because even if they score 2 touchdowns, you got so many points. You already put so many points on the board, and I feel like that's what the Celtics do. The Celtics will be up by 20 in the fourth quarter, and they just keep on shooting threes, and it's like, stop shooting threes.
And early.
Get to the bucket. Get to the bucket. Draw some fouls. Like, I really feel like that's part. I don't want to take nothing away from New York. They making plays, they winning games, they're doing their thing. But why are we shooting threes and we're up by 20 points? Why are we shooting threes?
Yeah, and I feel like that's what let New York in the game, on those games where they come back or whatever. It's like, they're so, like, even though last game they was locked in, I don't know how many they made, but the the shot go fall as long as it's falling, but when it stops, and it's like, teams. I feel like a lot of teams in the NBA are like that. They don't recognize, when it stops. Sacramento was like that last year, and the shots never started falling. And they just keep, but with the analytics to say keep shooting, and it's like, nah, this is not a video game. When you play in a video game and you don't care about stats and stuff, and you can get to the next game by a click of a button or whatever, and everything resets or whatever. Sure, you could jack up as many shots as you want, but I would like to see, and that's why I really like the Knicks or whatever, and I like Jalen Brunson so much, is that he could shoot the three, and he shoots the three, but he's trying to get to that mid range. He's trying to get to the basket, and as long as they say 3 is more than 2, but if you make them more 2s, you go get 4, 6, 8, 10. It's gonna add up, the more baskets. So that's what's that Celtics Knicks series and the game tomorrow. I'm super excited for it, because what are we gonna get? And I do like that both teams play their own style. When Boston start draining threes left and right, New York don't try to keep up with them. They keep doing what they do, chipping away. Same way, if Boston is down, they're still going to be tossing up threes or whatever. I think they shoot the most threes in the league, if I'm not mistaken or whatever. So, I like seeing two different styles go head to head, and like I said earlier, I think the Knicks is gonna win because I think they're a little more, I think they're more physical, and I think when it gets to crunch time and physicality matters, I think the Knicks is going to be able to, edge the Celtics. But overall, I think we both pretty much sticking to our guns outside of, I think, the Pacers.
Yeah,
No,
I picked the
we
Celtics to win. I didn't pick the Knicks to win. I'm not gonna pretend like I
yeah.
did.
So
I
you
definitely picked the
Celtics,
Celtics.
I was Knicks.
Yeah,
Um, we both was Pacers. We Golden State. We had Minnesota, I believe.
I picked gold. I picked Denver. I picked Golden
I had
State.
OKC.
I picked Golden State,
Mhm.
Denver, the Celtics. I can't remember who I picked with the Cleveland Pacers. I don't remember who I picked.
Only reason I know I picked Pacers because I know I've been we can finish back here on Pacers Cavs. I keep saying that I'm being disrespectful to the Cavs,
Yeah,
but the Cavs are proving me right.
they
So
are.
maybe it's not disrespect. Maybe I'm just keeping it real.
When the team is down 3-1, you're not disrespecting them. You're keeping it a buck. three
I
one.
didn't see this happening. I didn't see this
No,
happening.
no,
I thought the Pacers would beat them in a tough series, but the Pacers are like there might not be a Donovan Mitchell next game,
no.
and if he's not playing, this series is over in 5.
How much rest do they have? Do they play Tuesday or do they play Wednesday?
They
Hopefully they
play.
play Wednesday.
they need all the help they can get
Yeah.
because let's see, Cavs they play. Next game is Tuesday. If Donovan Mitchell is not playing on Tuesday,
Oh, it's over.
we already said the series overs.
It's
But
gonna be over in 5.
it's over in 5 if he's not
Yes,
playing.
absolutely. I'm not gonna watch the game. I'm not gonna waste my time.
Yeah. So as soon as we get that alert, Donovan Mitchell is out for game 5. It's
That's
done.
pretty
We might
much
as
it.
well start. We could start the stream right then. That's what we can do. The game is over. We ain't go. We just started. We go just pre-talk about it and talk about who will the Pacers be playing in the conference finals. Because
oh man, that would be great for the Pacers because this Knicks Celtics series look like it'll most likely go 7. Right? Despite we not talking about who winning, it's gonna be a long series. It's gonna go 6 or 7 games. If
yeah,
Pacers can take care of the Cavs in 5, they're gonna get a lot of rest.
a
They're gonna get
lot.
so much rest because the Celtics and the Knicks are in a dogfight.
Yep.
Right? It's
And
gonna take a
then
lot of energy. Like Celtics in a 2-0 hole. Well, we're in a 2-0
yep.
hole. And then the Knicks having to come back every game to win. It takes a lot out of you. So you're gonna have 2 exhausted teams. Well, yeah, Pacers are gonna play an exhausted team if they could just take care of business on Tuesday.
That's all they got to do.
Take
They
care of
don't play
business.
with your food. You know what I mean? Chew it up, wash it down, and throw it away. That's all you got to do. Because
Hopefully.
if y'all get stretched out to 6, 7, sure, I still got you making it in the conference finals, but you getting washed in that next round if somehow y'all end up letting the Cavs take you 6 or 7. But if no Donovan Mitchell, it's over in 5.
Oh yeah.
And you always want to see the team, win at full strength or go down at full strength. But this is one of those years for Tyrese and the Pacers is one of those years where things are just happening in their favor. Similar to the Warriors in the West. But I think I think it's over in 5. I think we're gonna have Garland Petty for next year reading some comments. Shout out to Alex, always rocking with us every day. Appreciate you. But yeah, I think we talked about everything we need to talk about today, man. Unless you got something, I think we can close this joint out.
I think we good. I just want to continue to see good basketball, man. I'm just grateful that we seeing some good playoff basketball this season. So shout out to the
Yeah.
NBA. Shout out to the
Yeah.
players. All that good stuff. And then happy Mother's Day. Shout out to all the mothers.
Happy Mother's Day. Shout out to the mothers. None of us would be here without you wonderful, wonderful women who and shout out to the mothers who have to deal with, hard-headed husbands and, and baby daddies and all that stuff. End of the day, we all is the one thing that all men can appreciate is good women. If
Yeah.
you're a good woman out there, you taking care of your kids, holding down your family, we appreciate you and we love
Absolutely.
you all. And on that note, I think this is a great time to hit that close button. And this is the closer. Make sure you guys follow and like and subscribe to all our channels. Follow us on social media. The links will be in the bio. And we will be back tomorrow
Y'all
for
tomorrow night.
another one. And we are out of here.
Peace.